Final segment on this state championship Saturday, March the 9th on High School Sports Talk presented by VirginiaPreps.com on ESPN Radio 94.1. I am Matthew Hatfield, joined by...
I'm the coach, Ed Young.
Nance Minerva High School and my colleague on the NFHS Network. Glad to be up here doing these games. Always a privilege, Ed, to get a chance to call these state championship games and see some of the memories and moments that will last a lifetime for the young athletes out there, the coaches, the schools, and the fans that are in attendance. Go watch all the championship games archived and live on NFHSnetwork.com. We also have some on Facebook Watch. We've had, I think, over 32,000 views on a few of these games. So it's really exciting to see the passion of all the high school sports fans. People that think high school sports is not a big deal in Virginia or in the 757, well, you might be mistaken. And might be coming back with 6 state championships, too, as Surrey girls and boys, which I added to the totals.
Be nice if we can. It was a shame Phoebus couldn't get one, but we're going to claim Surrey as a local. We can get some calls from them on the show on Saturdays. And back in my younger days, coaching at Old Suffolk High, Surrey's a big rival of my team. And I remember going in that gym, and they always seemed to have more people in the gym than there was in the whole town of Dedron. I just couldn't believe it. And when they come to us, they brought that whole town, 2-3 buses load. I used to like that. Watch today as those seats fill up with a lot of Surrey people because both teams are here. That's a rarity.
I got a feeling we might see our man Keith, by the way. Joe Ellis Gymnasium, the late great coach, the last time they won a state championship when he was leading the way for them before he passed away, 2005, the year they won the title. We'll get back to those games in a second, but speaking of championships, I think a championship program out of the 7x7 for football, though it hasn't happened in a while. Oscar Smith, they're making their announcement formally on Monday, 3 o'clock, to see who that next coach will be. Remember, it was Rich Morgan for so many years. He went on to Marietta, Georgia. The late, great Bill D took over. They came close to winning a state championship, lost to Westfield 3 straight years, in fact, including once under Morgan, once under D, and once under the most recent coach, Scott Johnson, a longtime aide in the area, coached at Western Branch, coached at Oscar Smith. He's getting his well-deserved retirement, chance to kick back a little bit after so many years of service on the coaching ranks. Tiger's going to make the announcement on Monday. Got any hunch who that person will be? I know you made some early statements on some candidates, as did I, in fact, on who they could go with. What do you think, Ed?
Excuse me. When this all started, a person's name I threw out real quick, Philip Sims, former quarterback, coach of football, John Marshall. Mm-hmm. I thought maybe he might be an interesting candidate. Not really knowing the situation, being close to the people over there, and, turning up every rock, piece of paper and trying to find out clues. I did hear a little scuttlebutt about one of the big timers in the area, Chris Scott.
Do you think it's Chris Scott?
I can't say it loud. Don't say it loud now. Come on, what do we know? But I just have a small feeling that he could be in the mix. And if he is, how do you overlook somebody with his credentials? Unless there is a ringer from the outside. Now, Oscar Smith is kind of a national level program. They played on ESPN. People know. I got a feeling they probably have some people from the outside with some nice resumes. So you don't know. But if you're telling me, if I can find it out that, somebody like a Chris Scott is involved and he wants it and they want him, I'm not so sure he could do any better by going outside the area and get somebody. But, is Philip Sims involved? Is he a person that would be there? But if you're going to throw names at me, it's going to be pretty hard for me to turn them all down away from a Chris Scott.
So you're going with Chris Scott to be introduced as the new Tigers coach?
Yeah, if you're telling me I have to pick somebody, I'll leave it at that.
That opens Bishop Sullivan if it does indeed come true on Monday. So we'll find out next week when we reconvene. Maybe we'll get the new coach on the 757 at 6 Andover High School Sports Talk. You hear the 757 at 6 every weeknight, 6 to 7, right here on ESPN Radio 94.1. And it's yours truly, Matt Hatfield, with the coach, Ed Young, every Saturday, 10 a.m. to noon here on ESPN Radio 94.1. Ed, looking at these games today, give you a quick, let's see if you can go quick winners here. Boys, girls, and I'll give you some thoughts as well. Surrey girls, Perry McClure girls, Surrey 26-4, Perry McClure 25-4, the defending two-time champ. You going Perry McClure, or do you think Surrey gets it done?
Boy, I want to pick with my heart and say Surrey. And I'm going to stay with Surrey, but they're playing a two-time defending champion. Come on now. But them Surrey girls, wow. I'm Surrey. Am I crazy or not?
You're not crazy. I took Surrey to begin the postseason. Perry McClure won the last two games by 17 and 18. I feel like Perry McClure is good, but Chris Brown, the coach, I think he has studied them and dissected them in the past year, and he knows got to get the tempo up. I got a feeling he's going to get it done. He's going to get it done today and get the win.
So we both go Surrey girls.
What about the boys? The Surrey boys have not been closing out as strong. How about, I know the word buzzer beater is still raw to you
I'm getting over it.
with what AJ Ashley James did, but Monty Pope has had not one buzzer beater, but two this postseason. Two, Ed. He hit one to win the Riverheads game in the state quarters at Sussex Central, 41-39. Then he hit one to force overtime in their 64-55 victory over Rappahannock. The region runner-up, they played in the Region 1A title game. Eastside's 26-4, and those two Twin Towers are gone. Luke Lawson, Colin Sturgill lost 4 starters, but Patrick Damron has the boys from Coburn, almost out near Tennessee, back in the title game.
Yeah, and who knows what they're going to be bringing here. They play some interesting basketball way out west. But again, I'm going to pick with my heart. I'm going with Surrey boys. A lot of athleticism, quick. They got some shooters. The Pope kid, of course, his dad's the coach. I'm going to stick with them. I think maybe it's because I want to see, a school that sent both teams here and win them both. Well, how many times that ever happened in state history? I mean, maybe that's what we want to see happen.
The key player is going to be Zamar Slade. Monty Pope is their most clutch player. Zamar Slade, the 6'5" guy inside, is their best player. And if they're going to win the championship, he has to step to the forefront. Sometimes he gets lost in the shuffle, doesn't touch the basketball enough. I think against an Eastside team that's been more perimeter-driven this year than tall and imposing inside, that can be the difference for Surrey should they be able to prevail and finish the year off at 29-2. On the girls' side for Class 2, Robin Dotson, it's hard to pick against him in Greensville, Ed. Pick against him against Greensville. 25-4 for Central Wise. Going for the three-peat they are, taking on a Greensville team, as we said. Greensville's got a coach that has been in the WNBA before, and Sharon Randolph played at NC State. Just don't think they have quite the firepower for 2 1,000-point scores in Dee Sventnick and Brooke Porter.
Yeah, I'm getting a feel, because I don't really know the teams that well, but I got a feel that Wise, they're very gung-ho on this third one. They've got the personnel to do it. Greensville's going to have to up their game even more so than they did at this point, and I'm going to go with Wise.
I'm shocked you didn't use the corny joke of the year and go with Wise as the Wise pick.
No, because it's been done enough. I'm more original.
Oh, you more original. Yeah, whatever. And then the last one for the boys' side. Oh, I know you're just tickled pink, as you like to say, for this game.
I haven't used that phrase in 8 months. Look it up.
Okay. You are thrilled for East Rock and Radford. You said East Rock from the start. Are you going to go away from it now against the unbeaten Radford Bobcats? I was talking with a couple of Class 2 coaches this week. They said, Matt, this figures to be a 3-4 point ball game. And you know how it is. The last game of the tournament every year. Remember last year it was Hanley Lake Taylor double overtime. Every year they seem to go overtime or multiple overtimes.
Yeah, and this has that kind of a feel. Even though Radford's undefeated, in a way I'd like to see a team who gets this close, just finish it out undefeated. A heck of a time to lose your first game in the state title. Come on now. But I was with the Rocks to begin with. I'm going to stay on the Rocks now.
Not the Rocks of the Eagles.
Well, I call them the Rocks because they're East Rockingham, so I'm sticking with what I call them. That's the Rocks, and they're going to do a job.
The Rocks are going to do a job. Well, Kerry Keys, the coach of East Rock, has had them knocking on the door for a while now, and I do think that they have a good chance in this game, but I just can't go. You know how it is. High school basketball is a guard game, and they have the best point guard on the floor in Quentin Morton Robertson. Also have a coach's son, too, in Cam Cormany. Rick Cormany's son there shooting the ball on the outside. I like Mr. Q. He's unflappable, as our buddy Demetrius Means dubbed him a couple years ago. I got to go with Radford in this game to get the championship win and bring it home for Class 2 and finish up the undefeated dream after beating Gate City. So that's going to do it. Again, all these state championship games, if you didn't get a chance to be here up at the Siegel Center, you can get them on the NFHSnetwork.com. Subscribe. They're archived. You get yourself a DVD. Lots of fun. And Ed, I'm looking forward to it. We'll be back next week. Maybe have some of the state championship players and coaches in studio. And you know what else next week is? On Sunday is going to be next Sunday, St. Patrick's Day. You better wear your green, number one. And number two, it's Selection Sunday, the college basketball tournament coming up. Could have a lot of Virginia flavor involved.
I think so. I think Virginia's on a mission to change what happened last year. Old Dominion has a shot. Norfolk State has a shot. Going to be heavy. Virginia Tech should be in there. We're going to have a lot of Virginia teams in. Let's see what happens.
That's going to do it for this edition of High School Sports Talk presented by VirginiaPreps.com. We thank all the coaches and the interviews there. Thomas Simmons and the crew. I am Matt Hatfield. You, sir, are?
I'm going to still be Ed Young.
The coach, and we'll talk to you next Saturday. Lord willing, as Ed likes to say, March the 16th, on your home for sports. We have it all, from pro to college and high school. It's the place to be.
ESPN Radio 94.1.